Listen.
I've been hearing a lot lately about men don't talk, but in my experience, men do talk, just people aren't listening. So it's going to be me and a group of blokes discussing our struggles and victories through life. Warning, there may be some bad language, so apologies to all the moms, especially my own. Let's get going.
Listen.
The Black Country Blokes chewing the fat about everything it is, mental health, disability and life in general. Here with me, Kev Dillon, and my partner in crime, as always, Lee Cadman. And today we're joined by the brilliant and very good friend, Dr Emily Barney from Spartantran Brain Gym. But before we get into our gratitude and before we talk about all the great stuff that Emily's doing from here at the Lions ABC, I want to give a massive shout out of condolence to my little brother, Patrick McCarthy, who we tragically lost last Tuesday. And that's why, obviously, we didn't go live. I love Pat. I've had him since the age of 6 years old and unfortunately lost him at 29. So we are having a collection for his partner and his two beautiful children, Patrick and Bonnie. So if you'd like to donate, please come up to Lions ABC. But our gratitude list, as always, even at the saddest days, we've got to remember to be grateful. And me and Lee got our wonderful award here that was made by the Discover You guys, and this was awarded to us from Dudley CVS, and it was a great experience, wasn't it? Meeting some great people.
It was.
And it's always an honour, and God bless him, personally nominated us, our good friend Andy Mullaney. What a great bloke. We also had our boxing show. We've had a lot to be grateful for since we last been here. We had Super Zayn Ahmed winning the Development National Champions. We had our boxing show on Sunday, which was bloody Boston, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great.
Great turnout, no trouble, and a quality of boxing. So, as always, even if I feel a bit rubbish, a lot to be grateful for. What are you grateful for, brother?
I was going to say boxing in general and the boxing show. It's great to still be a coach at the Lions and watch these kids fight through the nerves, and get into the ring. It takes such brave people to do this, and they did it with pride. And even in defeat, they're humble. It was great to see.
And then, what are you grateful for?
Oh, but on the spot. Do you know what? This evening I went on a run, and I remember I was thinking how grateful to be able to just move my body and run. Some people got walks, some people in pain. I just felt, really grateful that I can just run and move my body. Yeah, it's great.
And stopping that, isn't it? It's realising. Like, I'll tell a story before we get into your video. Like, I've talked to a lot of people, Ali. I'm not going through a bout of depression. I'm just feeling down, feeling flat. And the other week before we lost Pat, before I was at another funeral, before all this, and I went, this too shall pass. And it's okay. We've been here before. You know when to lick your wounds. You know when to stand up. And I went, you know what, Kev? Go and pour yourself a bath. Pour yourself a beer. Listen to some music. And I lay there and I thought, you know what, Kev? You're right. This too shall pass. The universe is now to get you. And at that, I was stung in the back of the head by a wasp. And you're thinking,
maybe it is.
But even but that's the thing. But like the old Kev of gone a day should have gone, oh, it is the universe. But then you think only that could happen to you. Know what I mean?
But,
it's a funny story.
And like the universe is saying, like, kind of have a laugh at yourself, like it sort of,
lighten up. It's something serious.
Yeah.
And in the next vein, and in the next vein,
they're meant to be nasty, and like the wasps this time of year.
It's really hurts. And you're pouring vinegar on it, and you're thinking, well, it's been that long. I
wonder what that smell was.
You're thinking, well, am I allergic? It's been that long. You know what I mean?
Where's that wasp come from in the bath?
It's horrible. But I dashed on the floor. We went back and it wasn't there. Sorry, I was doing chin-ups on my links. They're just getting really angry. And that's how you've got to find these moments, be them painful, be them sad, be them frustrating. At the end of the day, it's a story to tell.
Yeah.
And some stories are going to be easier to tell than others. Some are going to be funnier. Some are going to be more heartfelt and more lesson-based. But they're all a story, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, these things I think come up throughout the day, don't they? And we don't notice them sometimes, or don't like sort of see the funny side. But they're like, these things happen, don't they? And you don't, sort of go, oh, like, yeah, that's funny. I take that as an opportunity to be like,
It's all
is a
the
funny
mindset of
story.
how you treat that, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I've learned this, and we'll go into what you're doing in it. But it's finding the blessings in a day. And I've said this on the show before. We were at a boxing show. I'll give you a quick story before we go into Em's video. But we were at a boxing show. Me and Josh Colson, who's one of my coaches and one of my best friends, and we went off to the championships with young Sammy Robinson, his dad Tom, and we had a great weekend. It was brilliant. You know, you got to bond with the dad, the son, with Nervous Wreck. We had a good drink and a good laugh. And Sammy boxes, tough lad, and he boxed out his skin. 5 seconds to go, the referee stops it, and you're going, oh, bloody hell. The old Kev, it's a bad weekend. And, the referee, and you have to stop and you go, the weekend was brilliant. One plonker made a decision that was what it was. That didn't ruin, and it's remembering that.
Mm-hmm.
One thing doesn't make everything bad. I'm having a bad day doesn't make it a bad life.
It's not even one thing, multiple things, don't it?
Yeah.
It's how you treat them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go into voices up, should we go into the video quickly?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Spartan founder Emily Barney is a trained psychologist with a special interest in men's mental health. Spartan is a brain gym. Emily created Spartan with men in mind who are 3 times more likely than women to die by suicide and are less likely to go to traditional talking therapy. It specialises in one-to-one personal training for mental fitness. Emily has been testing the methods and techniques used in Spartan over the last few years with the police, army veterans and prisoners. This experience has given Emily the certainty that she can consistently help clients achieve positive outcomes and can also train up others to be personal trainers and grow the Spartan workforce and the brand over the next 10 years into a national chain. Spartan was launched in the autumn of 2023 in the back room of the Lions Boxing Club in Brierley Hill, in the heart of the Black Country. And Emily intends for the Spartan brand to always be known for its affordability and the down-to-earth brand for normal, everyday people with no airs and graces. Just simple, effective, full of heart and always there when you need it.
Hello, I'm Emily, and I'm the founder of Spartantran Brain Gym. Spartantran Brain Gym is a totally new way of approaching mental health. At a brain gym, the focus is on increasing brain health, strength and functioning so that you're able to cope easily and effortlessly with the stress and pressures of life.
I met Emily a few years ago when I've had many problems over the years. I've been to counsellors, therapists, and she showed me a different way of thinking. Showing you that we've got the tools in us, but it's reminding ourselves of this, turning the switch on.
Wondering why I was stressed out all the while when my life was perfect. And it was so simple when she explained to what it is.
Spartan's targeted and aimed at men, but it's suitable and available for anyone really who knows they need help to sort their heads out but doesn't want to go see a therapist and talk about their problems.
Well, before I started using the Spartan services, I was hoping to achieve, well, I guess better coping mechanisms for anything that happens in my life. I didn't really have very healthy coping mechanisms.
Not once have I ever left Emily's session without feeling positive, without feeling happy about myself or happy about the week I've had.
This is so simple. If I want to get fit and lose weight, I have to have a routine. I have to get up, I have to eat good food that's going to keep me going. I have to do exercise. This is the same thing. It's as simple as coming into this gym and having a training program.
So if you think something's not right and you need help to sort your head out, you've got nothing to lose by contacting Spartantran Brain Gym. Please get in touch today and arrange a free consultation.
So where did you come up with the idea of this brain gym?
I should say, first of all, that the website isn't live yet. It goes live next week, just in case people try it and they don't get anything. It's just, because I just said just Spartan.com then, didn't it? I thought there'll be nothing yet. So just watch this space. Sorry. So the idea for the brain gym, it's been about 3 years in the making, to be honest. It's been a combination of experience of working as a clinical psychologist in the NHS, working with men in prisons and those sort of situations. And then when I set my own business, working with the police, and just the more I sort of learned, the more I sort of had this idea of, not everybody, and my own experiences as well, actually, of going through a tough time with a divorce and sort of things going on in life. And I remember thinking, like talk it, I want to talk about it. Like, it doesn't mean, like, I just didn't feel better. I didn't want to go and see someone and talk about something, and I just thought, well, there's no really alternative. If people are struggling, they know they want some help, but no, they just want to go and talk about the problems, going over and over the problems, or see someone. I said that, they're just thought there's not really another alternative there for people. And then I sort of started thinking about this idea of, new idea, like personal training for mental fitness. So a new alternative for people, and men specifically, because of my background and where I'd work, but for men who like want to sort their heads out, don't want to talk about their problems or see a therapist. I mean, I suppose the sort of the driver behind it all was the sort of this statistic of male suicide, is what motivated all of it, really, is that sort of, it's the biggest killer of men under 50 is suicide, and 3/4 of the suicide rates are male, And so I just thought there really isn't another alternative.
Well, I found it when I did counselling in, I think it was 2018, can't remember, where I turned up to a building. Very thankful for it, to be honest, within the NHS. Yeah. But I was just sitting in this sterile room with a chair and the therapist across to me that I really didn't relate to.
Yeah.
Whereas I can imagine coming up here and treating it differently. You're not, from what I understand, from what Kev has told me, you're not kind of rehashing old wounds. You're looking at ways to change the way you think.
Yeah, it's and there's nothing against talking and therapy. It has its place and it's fabulous but it's sometimes that's not what people want, and it's like,
well, it's daunting for people to go into that kind of room. Whereas actually, it's actually held in the room we're in now, isn't it? So it's held on nice comfy sofas, and you're just here in a boxing club, just relaxed.
It's and down to earth. It's not like fancy. Yeah, it's really relaxed, and there's a different approach to it. It's about using the parts of your brain. So basically, we all have the resources to be able to cope with life. It's just we don't use like the right parts of our brain, particularly when life's really like getting on top of us or we're going through some stuff. We use a different part of our brain that doesn't sort of isn't very good at finding solutions and sort of moving forward, and processing and letting go of emotions, and we just sort of hold on to stuff and we sort of start drowning, and we don't use all the resources we've got in our brain properly. So all these sessions is tapping into all that resource in your brain, in this fabulous brain, to be able to find the solutions to move you forward. So it's strengthening your brain and your brain power, so you can focus, not in this foggy head. You know what you want within your clarity, and you've got a different perspective, and your brain starts sort of working as it should.
Sorry, Kev, can I just add, we've got a few listeners on now. If you'd like to ask any questions, just write a message in Facebook Messenger or YouTube or any of that, and we can ask Emily while she's sitting opposite us. It's a good chance to get information out of her, basically, for free.
But I like the idea, like if you write it down, I write stuff down for me. It's a bit awkward. I was writing my book because once again, it's not a spelling test, it's not a reading test. So you jot it down, and it can just be, I want my daughter to school, or I had a better night's sleep, or what. It hasn't got to be no epiphany. It's just what did you find was bearable or half decent that day?
The big part of these sessions is that they're structured. You do the same process every session, and the big part of a session you just warm up with very simple brain warm up is like these practical exercises. What's being good, and it's nothing fancy, but it really is what's being good. And say a list of 12, it's enough to sort of fire your brain off and get it warmed up for the session. But really, like you say, it doesn't have to be this epiphany. It really is what's been good, what has happened, what have you done that you've been pleased with. You use a different part of your brain when you're doing that, and you're releasing different chemicals, so you're just getting all those connections fired up. Because if we're low in mood, or we're struggling with our mental health, or if we have depression, you cast a day off, nothing's been good, or you've got the bar up here, and because you haven't achieved that, then like it's been a waste of time. But the significance and the power is actually in recognising, that was good. Some days you have to lower the bar, but that's where the sort of the discipline is with the sessions, is you got to find something every day that's been good, and you don't let yourself off the hook. So sometimes it's lowering the bar, right? I took the bins out, whatever. Have you been pleased with that? Find that counts, so that's sort of how we warm up every session. Yeah, that soon gets easier and easier.
I was going to say, I can imagine to begin with that.
It doesn't take long at all for the brain to be like, and particularly because the sessions are structured, it doesn't change because life is chaotic. So when you've got these sessions that structured, what you're going to get asked every session. So you have a different thing.
Yeah, there's no surprise.
Yeah, the brain loves that, loves to know what to expect. If you're an anxious person or you're having a lot of stress in life, to know what to expect. You can. And
I can imagine you're kind of thinking about that throughout the day before the session as well. Because I do it coming here when we do the gratitude list. I'll think about that. Sometimes I don't, to be honest, but a lot of the time I'll think about that during the day. So, actually, what I'm a bit, and then I'm reminding myself to be grateful in the same process.
It's exactly that. It's not rock. It's really simple, but also it's why personal training works as well, because it's hard to do it yourself, isn't it? But if you've got a trainer, like someone you're accountable, you've booked in a session, you're like, right, okay, I've got to write it down, and it doesn't take long to warm your brain up and think of what's been good. I set the bar at like 12 because it gives you enough to sort of consider your life in different contexts throughout the week. But, if I said you couldn't leave the session until you've had a 50, your brain would find 50 things. It would just creative and it would tap into that resource. So, yeah, that's part of a session.
And that can even just be I'm watching a new series.
It's anything. Anything.
One of my mates he'll say, like, he'll go, like, who's doing it good, like, well, I see Kev every day, or I walk the dog, or
he was grateful for
yeah.
So
he hasn't been around you enough yet, has he, Kev?
But it's the small, because we go like, what have I got to be flipping great? And you go, I've got a roof, I've got a toilet that flushes, I've got and all these little things. You go, well, I'm in a lot better situation.
And in the sessions we do what's been good, because gratitude's fabulous, but it's like if you imagine a library, like the gratitude's like sort of a subheading of what's been good, what you want like in the brain to connect to, like, just it's deliberately a vague question, so you're going over this side of the library and tapping into like anything.
I was going to say that because we did a gratitude of one, and one thing is usually easy to think of for anyone, but actually stopping down and thinking about 12 things, you have actually got to think about it, haven't you?
That's why some people bring the book in, and every day they jot down 2 or so, and then if you are struggling, you can pick up your book and go, I forgot about Tuesday,
and then you're looking back over it again and read gratitude in
and
that.
There's something powerful of putting pen on paper or a voice note. It's whatever your way of doing it is. I'm putting from here to there, and then I can look at it going, I thought this was a bad week, but it turns out there's been more nice things than I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a slight kind of difference that I did counselling over the phone. Was that this year or last year? Remember you doing it? Yeah, and it was face to face, and she kept the lady was giving me kind of homework to go away with, and that just stressed me out even more that I had another thing to do. And it wasn't nothing overly complicated, but it would. And then I felt like a naughty school kid because half an hour before the call, I was then scribbling down my homework as such. Probably a voice note would have been better at the time.
Well, someone like me started off by writing down every day. To get me into it, because Evan said do it, so you listen to your trainer. And then by the end, I didn't need to write them down because I'm auditory anyway.
Yeah.
Then I'm just thinking, what have I done this week? I saw Lee, I saw Emily, I saw
simple.
Works for different people, doesn't it? You said it engages different parts of the brain, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I've never not once had anybody not be able to find their things, and that's just the warm up of a session anyway. It's like the equivalent of the physical training, but go get on the bike and warm your legs up, or warm yourself up. Like that's just the start of a session to get your brain all fired up, ready for a session, and every time people can do it, no matter how depressed someone is, to find it. Because that's the part of a trainer is a discipline, like don't move on until those 12 things are found, and that primitive part of the brain pipes up. Now I can't do it, I can't find. You can, it's there because it's all there, but it has a big connection. You don't. Sometimes a lot of it is just remembering, but although they were there, the brain just hasn't sort of connected and sort of recognized it. So it gets better and gets easier, and learns how to do it. It's amazing, really.
And I think what it's done, because I've done a lot of therapy, counselling, NLP, I think sometimes, and it is just, how do you feel? I feel dreadful. What do you feel dreadful? Or what happened? I feel angry. And it just, you regurgitate the same emotion over and over. Whereas this is a lot more, if you want to have a little rattle in between, we can have a little rattle, but it's not about that. It's about your happiness. It's moving towards pleasure instead of away from pain.
Yeah, the whole focus in a session, in the sessions, is how to be happy. Like, that's how we rate sort of movement in a session, is really simply a happiness scale. It's 0 to 10, 0 the lowest, 10's the happiest you ever been. So every session you get asked, part of a session is like, where are you right now on your happiness scale? And then there's another exercise we do after that, sort of imagining how to move yourself on. But every session you get asked that, you know, you can say 7 or whatever, same every week, but it's a different 7 each week. And then that doesn't take long for the brain to learn, actually, right, this is the goal, you know, this is the goal, working on it. So it starts to figure out, well, what do I need to do to achieve my goal, and you start shifting off that 7 and learning the steps you need to do. But that's all it is. It's like, but if you go to a therapy, the focus is on the problem. What's the problem? So we become like what we tell ourselves and what our focus on. This is a goal focused machine, you know. So if we're focusing on happiness, if we're never focusing on happiness in like traditional talking therapies, we're not going to get there. It's very simply, if the goal is happiness, the brain's going to learn and figure out how to move you closer to it. Yeah, simple.
But it's I've always loved hypnosis, and some people, when you say hypnosis, they're very frightened of it because they think they're going to be quacking like a duck, and I can't do it. And you think there's no wrong way. We've got someone here who comes and you say, well, just scroll through your phone and I'll talk to your brain. And then other people like me, I'll go out like a log. Yeah. But
so that's the second part of the session, isn't it? Like, we've got the practical exercise, and then the second half is like it's a bit like hypnotherapy, but it's more like daydreaming and relaxation, and it's you go offline, and your brains can use all that sort of creative resource then, and that's a big part of the session as well.
How do you feel after you've come out of that kind of relaxation?
I've loved it, and it's been funny talking to other people, because I'm one of them. I start listening and then boom, I think about your breathing, think about this. And then sometimes, like, when I'm nodding off to sleep, I see bright, swirly colours, and I think, oh, that's beautiful. And then I'll catch a word that Emily's saying, and I go, oh, that's not. And like, considering she reads more or less the same things every week, and I'll go, oh, it's something about trees this week. And she go, oh, it's not like sometimes she changes it, but it's like sometimes your brain, like in life, picks out things. You listen to a song every day on the way to work, and you'll go, God, that's about me dad. You know what I mean? And that's what it things have relevance to you when they're relevant to you.
Yeah.
And that's like we're getting better or getting well or focus driven or finding peace with the world. You find words more relevant, don't you? But I wake up and I'm feeling like I've had a good night's sleep as someone who doesn't sleep well. And then it's like some days it's like, oh, bloody hell. And then other days it's more like, oh, I'm in the room.
You know, when that's done though, because I remember when we did the podcast, I can't remember who it was with now, but we did the podcast downstairs, and they did something similar to that.
Nick
when they were was it Nick?
Yeah.
And the first thing he says was, we're sitting all the lads sitting on the sofa for us at the time, and facing Nick, he says, right, I want you to relax. It was freezing cold down. I smiled. I thought, it's freezing cold down here. I'm sitting next to 4 blokes. Like, this is not relaxing for me, you know. And straight away, kind of, I put me on the defense. I thought, well, you know, if you want to relax, you need to be somewhere relaxing. And I find myself, like, I've done things like the Calm app, where you lie on your bed and you've got your headphones and you're trying to do it, but my brain just starts racing the second and I'm thinking about everything but what's on that. What that's telling me.
So what we do in these sessions is like daydreaming. We all know how to. So some people find it hard relaxing or hard like meditating. But everybody can daydream, right? Everybody doesn't love to daydream. So that's what we do, is daydreaming. And you can daydream, like some people who struggle with their attention, have attention sort of problems. I just say, just go on your phone and scroll. But as I'm listening, as they're listening to me talking, the brain just goes in and out of a daydream. And that daydream state, it's not like you have to be sort of completely zen. It's that daydream state, because when your brain waves slow down and you go in and out that daydream state, your brain's doing something really important. Then it's replicating the nighttime sleep state, the REM state of sleep, and that's the state of sleep where your brain reruns events from the day, processes them, and lets go of like these negative emotions that are weighing you down. It lets go of things subconsciously. So daydream away, you know.
So I kind of like the idea of scrolling, because you do, don't you? Just and you don't feel like
your brain will tune in subconsciously to some of the metaphors and things you want to hear, because it's part of these sessions you learn how to trust your mind, because your mind wants to move you forward. But in a sense,
you're also blanking your brain, because your brain's not racing, because you've got a concentration on something. You know, you're scrolling your phone.
Yeah, so it's like you're tricking your brain, going in through like the back door, really, like this sort of like this amygdala that can be like, this is a threat, don't pay attention to this is a, you know, this is dodgy, you know. That bit is concentrating here, just scrolling, and then the subconscious bit that's trying to process sort of stuff that's just on your mind is listening to the stuff, you know. So you can do lots of things at the same time, you know. Brain's clever.
But that's the same, like when you're on the pads and you talk, you watch the Fury fights on the weekend, and then before you know it, you're on about anxiety. You know them, and before you know it,
you've got a distraction in a sense. Yeah,
punching, you've taken your mind off work. And before you know, in between rounds, you've got 2 minutes or 3 minutes training.
That's
1
exactly
minute,
it. All
you're talking.
That is exactly all that is a distraction. If you were to sit down with that person face to face and ask the questions, you wouldn't get that same response, would you? But if you distract the person, then you can get to what you need to.
So maybe use the car map as you're scrolling on your phone, because you kind of think when you're doing stuff like that you should be lying on your bed with your headphones in, your eyes closed, arms crossed, kind of.
And that's part of the training for me as a trainer, to say you cannot do this wrong, you can't do this exercise wrong, because I think that's where the anxiety comes in. People think there has to be like, they have to be lying down, they have to be still. If they're moving, they're doing it wrong, and they say you cannot do it wrong. Cannot.
You're just finding your way. It works to do it.
But the fear of failing can put people off, can't it? Like with everything, it's like, well, I've got an itch. You can't itch because anything.
Exactly, it is like that, isn't it?
And I've had dogs in here. You know, people bring their dogs. You know, can have anything that just helps you. If you want to sort of be stroke the brain, like you can have it go into a daydream anyway. You can do it like at a train station, waiting. Your brain will wander off. So you can be in, like, you know, we'll be doing sessions here, and you can hear your boxing downstairs, and it's the brain's just like, oh yeah, that's just that over there. It can go wanders off into a daydream, and so it's a really natural state of mind. Your brain goes into a daydream. You know, when you're in the shower, when you're washing dishes, it does all the time. So all it is in this session is just like a prolonged daydream, so that your brain can process some of the stuff that you've been holding on to, like the emotional stuff.
And I think we've got the key to our own cage, haven't we? But we just lose it. You know what I mean? We've got the key to freedom, but we just need to remind you can get out of this place you are now.
Yeah.
It hasn't got to hold you prison.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But life is demanding, is it? Life is stressful. And if there's we've got this amazing brain, but it's still only a human brain. It's not like, so, you know, so if we've got too much going on, like too much to process, like too much, it gets overwhelmed, and then we can't use this resource as well as we can. You know, it just needs to take time to process the things, you know, to give ourselves time. But then what we do then is give ourselves a hard time that we're not functioning, and we just sort of add more and more stress, and then the brain gets flooded with the cortisol and the stress hormones instead of all the good stuff, the serotonin and the dopamine and that. So when you're daydreaming, you're releasing all that serotonin, all that stuff that makes you feel calm and confident and all that. Yeah.
And I've liked it, you know, and I'm still doing it now, and I have advocated for it, you know. I mean, a few people up here are doing it and feeling good through doing it. And because I say this all the time, you'll go and pay someone X, Y, and Z to be a personal trainer and a dietitian and all these strength and conditioning coaches, but we don't get our brain right. Without the brain, without the mind, without.
And the mad thing is, none of them really work without that in the right place.
Yeah.
Should be first and foremost, then kind of work on the others.
Yeah. And they'll be frightened of trying something and not enjoying it. The saying that we've had for the last 4.5 years, 4 years, you've got to find your medicine. You know, maybe this is for you. And then what's the best way of, I know your website comes out in a week's time, so roughly from November onwards.
Yeah, like the website will be live, but I've got just setting up all the social media accounts now. So on Facebook, it's Spartan Brain Gym, and then on Instagram, it's the Spartan Brain Gym. So yeah, and then there's emails, emily@spartan.com is probably the quickest way at the moment till it all gets going.
And if you want any more information, you can contact the Lions, Hampshire Boxing Club, or the Black Country Blokes, and we'll point you in the right direction. Well, Al, thank you for coming on. Have you got any quotes or sayings, either from your organisation or that have helped you get through life?
They put another one, put me on the spot. No. Have you, Kev? Give me time to think. I don't have
I've got terrible mind fog. I like that saying, and I keep saying it to myself. I got from the Big Bang. This too shall pass. And unfortunately, that's your good days.
Yeah.
To enjoy it while you're winning.
Yeah.
And it happens to be bad days. This too shall pass.
I like if he's having a bad day, I quite just like that similar thing, like where tomorrow's a new day, like that just sort of mental thing of like just wipe the slate clean and start again. If you've had that, I sort of do that a lot sometimes, particularly with the kids if they've like stressed. It's like start fresh tomorrow, and it's like tomorrow's another day, so it's almost like back to square one. Reset. Yeah. So I like that. So that one.
No matter how bad the day is, the sun's going to rise tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's sort of rather than dragging today through tomorrow, it's like right reset buttons. And start sort of afresh. Yeah, we'll do that.
Well, guys, next week we've got one of my best friends in the game, Warren Davis, from the Priory Massive, Priory Park down the road. He's going to talk about his 30 odd years as a fireman. I think it's 30, sorry, was if you know. Boxing, PTSD, and autism. So I look forward to seeing you all next time. I want you all to take care of yourselves and each other. Ta-ra a bit.
Listen.
And that's a wrap for another show. But if there are any comments or messages that you would like us to read out for our next podcast, please be in touch. There are also lots of different organisations at the bottom of this page, and hopefully they can help you or someone you care about. Please share this to spread the word. Until we talk next time, ta-ra a bit.
Listen.